the late 1960s in Northern California. It was the epicenter of peace and love, flower power, the summer of love. But beneath the tie-dye and the psychedelic rock, a shadow was growing, a shadow that wore an executioner's hood and carried a blazing ego. He is perhaps the most famous unidentified serial killer since Jack the Ripper. He haunted the Bay Area for less than a year, definitively, but he has haunted the American psyche for over half a century. He didn't just kill, he taunted. He played a lethal game of chess with the police and the press, demanding credit for his atrocities. We know his victims. We know his handwriting. We know his voice. We even have his DNA. And yet, 50 years later, the question remains the same. Who was the Zodiac? And why, with all our modern technology, is he still a ghost? To understand the identity, you have to understand the pathology. The Zodiac wasn't a creature of habit like Dahmer or Bundy. His modus operandi was chaos. He began in the desolate lovers' lanes on the outskirts of town, targeting young couples with a pistol. Then, bizarrely, he shifted gears. He donned a bizarre ceremonial executioner's costume with his symbol on the chest to stab a couple at Lake Berryessa in broad daylight. Finally, he moved to the heart of San Francisco to execute a lone taxi driver. He claimed 37 victims. Police confirmed 5 deaths and 2 survivors. But the killing wasn't the primary goal. The killing was merely the admission ticket to the main event, the media circus. He needed the world to know how smart he was, and that need for attention is the biggest clue to his identity. If the murders were the body of the crime, the ciphers were the soul. He sent 4 cryptograms to local newspapers, threatening more violence if they weren't published on the front page. The first one, the Z408, was cracked quickly by a history teacher and his wife. It was a chilling manifesto of a disturbed mind, claiming he was collecting slaves for the afterlife. But it gave no name. A team of international code breakers finally cracked it using specialized software. And what did it reveal? Another taunt. No name. Just more mockery. The man who wrote this was deeply insecure, desperate to prove his intellectual superiority, and pathologically obsessed with his own mythology. When you talk about Zodiac suspects, all roads eventually lead to one man, Arthur Leigh Allen. If you were writing a movie character to be the Zodiac, you would write Allen. The circumstantial evidence against him is staggering. He lived near the victims. He owned the same type of boots found at Lake Berryessa. He wore a Zodiac brand wristwatch. He allegedly told a friend he wanted to call himself Zodiac and kill couples. He was a convicted pedophile who had been dishonorably discharged from the Navy. He even looked like the composite sketch. The police liked him for it. Robert Graysmith, author of the most famous book on the case, was convinced it was him. But this is where the paradox kicks in. Every piece of forensic evidence, the hard science, cleared him. His fingerprints didn't match the bloody prints on the taxi. His handwriting didn't match the letters. And in 2002, a partial DNA profile from a stamp on a Zodiac letter did not match Arthur Leigh Allen. How can someone look so right, yet test so wrong? Was the DNA degraded? Was the handwriting disguised? Or was Arthur Leigh Allen just the perfect red herring? In recent years, a group called the Case Breakers made headlines identifying a new suspect, Gary Francis Poste, an Air Force veteran who died in 2018. Extreme close-up comparison. The police sketch shows distinct frown lines on the forehead. A photo of Poste shows scars in the exact same pattern. The two images overlay perfectly. It's compelling, but controversial. The FBI and local law enforcement have not endorsed this finding. They maintain the case is open, and the DNA evidence has yet to definitively link Poste to the crimes. The problem with new suspects is that they often fit some of the clues, but never all of them. The identity of the Zodiac Killer is perhaps the greatest locked-room mystery in American history. We are attempting to solve a 1969 puzzle with 2020's technology, and the pieces no longer fit quite right. Perhaps he was Allen, and the science failed. Perhaps he was someone whose name has never been mentioned. But in the end, the Zodiac achieved his ultimate goal. He didn't just want to kill people, he wanted immortality. By remaining a question mark, he became a legend. The man is long dead, but the ghost? The ghost is going to live forever.